we got new word today that the Biden administration is announcing that they will put sanctions on Russia for Russia's alleged interference in the 2024 election. Now, on the one hand, let's be honest, lots of countries try to interfere with sentiment, right? That's one of the reasons why people have been worried about TikTok, et cetera. There are plenty of countries that try to manipulate sentiment. And by the way, what do you think we did, right? Like, and continue to do all around the world. We also try to manipulate sentiment. So, let's be big boys and understand that this happens. But I would take this a step further, because my trouble with all of this is the way they point the finger, and they always blame Russian disinformation for everything, to the point where they tie you in knots, because it turned out that laptop, that now infamous laptop that 51X spooks came out and said was a total fake, and that the FBI was not investigating Hunter Biden. It turned out that was actually all fake, right? The misinformation was what the 51X spooks were trying to feed you, courtesy of our now Secretary of State, one Antony Blinken, who got his buddy, who's the deputy director at the CIA, Mike Morrell, to push that narrative and to organize all of those signatures. So think about how easy it is to frame everything simply as misinformation. For goodness sakes, we were just talking about, what does Handy call him? Humpty Dumpty or Potato Head or something? The guy that's coming back to CNN. And he was pretty notorious. I want to share with you this clip. I mean, he seems to be feeding the misinformation narrative himself, because he has no desire to actually know the truth. Again, just kind of a hitman for the powers that be. Watch.
Jose, this is being described by our sources.
At this point, we've got multiple investigations through Mr. Mueller, through congressional and Senate committees, and CNN itself has been so hot on Russia, on the dossier. CNN's been obsessed with this dossier for over a year now. And now that we know the DNC and the Clinton campaign paid the same firm for said dossier, which is completely unverified, we can't get you excited. If you look back at your whole year...
That is misinformation that you're spreading on my program.
Hold on. A lot of it has not been verified.
Much of the dossier...
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to keep going.
Hold on.
You just said the entire dossier is unverified.
No, I said it has not been verified. It has not been verified. But the
pieces of the dossier...
She's right. He's wrong.
...have been verified. And when you say it's unverified, you actually mislead the American people.
No.
Carter Page actually confirmed another part of the dossier on Friday.
Don't start with that. You know that entire dossier has not been verified, and yet the interest in covering...
Parts of it have not been verified. Parts have been verified.
Are you comfortable with that? By the way, we don't even care about the dossier here, because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Great. Then let's look at all sides of the coin. Tell me this. Why, if President Obama and apparently, according to Donna Brazile now, Attorney General Holder, National Security Advisor Susan Rice, they all knew about, they were all told about possible Russian meddling. Why didn't they tell us at the campaign? They knew last summer. We weren't told.
There were warnings. I agree. There should have been more. You're right about that. There should have been better,
so should that be part of the investigation? Warning. So if we're going to look forward to our democracy, our unimpeded, uninterfered democracy, Brian, which I know you and I both agree with, then why wouldn't we look at that?
That's enough. Kellyanne's fantastic. This guy kind of stinks, right? Like he's feeding a narrative. He doesn't bother to ask the appropriate questions. And so consequently, he's part of the conspiracy. He's part of the misinformation or disinformation. Well, right now, it's being reported that the Biden administration means business. Sanctions on Russia, reportedly for any misinformation or meddling.
Jose, this is being described by our sources as a whole of government action designed to target Russian propaganda and disinformation aimed at interfering in the 2024 election. It is said to include sanctions by the Treasury Department, law enforcement action by the Justice Department, and one of the focuses is on RT, formerly known as Russia Today, that network of Russian government-funded English-language websites and television platforms that was flagged all the way back in 2017 by the U.S. intelligence community as a vehicle for Russian disinformation and election interference. And at that time, the Justice Department required RT to register as a foreign agent. It remains to be seen exactly what actions the U.S. will take against RT today, but this does appear to represent an escalation in the efforts to try to purge the system of Russian propaganda and disinformation. What's interesting is that, look, the U.S. has been saying all along that not only Russia, but Iran and China, but particularly Russia, has been consistently trying to manipulate American public opinion with disinformation on social media platforms, use of fake accounts, and through RT, through its state-sponsored platforms, as they did in 2016. The difference now is that there are mechanisms in place, particularly on the social media platforms, to try to stop and flag fake accounts.
So here's the problem with this. I don't doubt that Russia's trying to do whatever Russia wants to do, right? Like that's a given, and we do the same thing over there, mind you, right? And we do the same thing in China. Like that's the way of the world. So you do have to be vigilant for that. But what's so messed up about this moment in time is that has become the go-to excuse for the other side. Anytime they feel threatened, they lash out, and it's Russia, Russia, Russia. I mean, for goodness sakes, we had to listen to Joe Biden tell us over and over and over and over again that it was Russian disinformation that was targeting his son rather than his son doing what his son did. And maybe now, I think he'll pardon him, could be penalized for. Watch.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes. I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. It's the last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family. The vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all.
Okay. So you can see why one might want to take the whole Russia disinformation thing with a grain of salt. And this is what's so tragic, because yes, it does happen. And yes, it's wrong. And yes, we need to guard against it. Okay, those things are all absolutely positively true. It's why I have concerns about China. I have concerns about Governor Kathy Hochul employing a woman as her deputy chief of staff that's on the take from China, with the CCP giving her millions of dollars so she can buy a new house and a new Ferrari, for goodness sakes. All right. These are real concerns that we all share and that we must have. But think about how they have squandered America's trust. Think about how Joe and everyone else there, Hillary as well, tried to pin it all on Trump. And it turned out the reverse was true. Right? The research, the dossier, bought and paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign, by a law firm that was working for the Clinton campaign, who then hired a group, former Wall Street Journal investigative reporters, who then went out and hired Christopher Steele. I mean, it's murky, guys. It's murky. Who then went and hired a guy who, by the way, our own FBI was investigating as a potential Russian spy to come up with the dossier, for goodness sakes. And then they sit there and they're like, oh no, Trump is the Russian, issue. And this is all Russian misinformation, when you dare to say that maybe Joe Biden was on the take. I mean, look, you can't do that. You cannot do that. You cannot do what Joe Biden did, which was to collect money while sitting on the board of a now defunct energy company, a natural gas company in Ukraine, to the tune of $83,000 a month, times two, because his business partner got it too. He's collecting all this money while simultaneously his dad is in charge of Ukraine energy policy, and he never bothers to register as a foreign agent. For goodness sakes, I mean, that's just so darn wrong. It's like these people have no moral, ethical code. It's really quite scary. It is.